Hello, all. Dr. Andrew Von Plitt here, again with another live stream. Just going to respond to some questions and comments from videos. If you are new to this channel, basically what I do here is post videos that give instructions for Tai Chi and Qigong. And if you would like to find a place where those are organized well, if the playlists that are on this channel don't do the trick for you, go to andrewplitt.com and you can find those there. Also, I'm a naturopathic doctor in the Portland, Oregon area. So if you're interested in more information about that, you can go to drvonplitt.com. That's drvonplitt.com to find out more about that. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into these comments and questions and see where we can go from here. So the first comment today is from a YouTube user named Nathan Cohens. And Nathan Cohens is a supporting member for this channel. So thank you, Nathan, for being a supporting member. Thank you again to all the supporting members out there. Really appreciate the support. Really appreciate how you contribute to this channel. It's wonderful. So thank you for that. And let's see, Nathan says, Kung Fu is hard work over time. That's true. So there is a pretty common misconception that Kung Fu or Gong Fu refers to just Chinese martial arts. And it actually means a skill that's developed through hard work over time, which is what Nathan's saying here. And so someone who's really good at the piano, that could be their Gong Fu. That's the skill that they've developed through hard work over time. Someone who's an amazing carpenter, same thing. So yeah, just a little tidbit there. Kung Fu does not just refer to martial arts, although in the West, that's pretty much what we refer to it as. Let's see. I'm just trusting and enjoying the process. What got me interested in your methods of training was first how you moved in your forms, and then your explanations of how energy flows, and everything that you teach stacks on top of everything else that you teach. Cool. So that's good feedback. Thank you. I do try to make the information that I put out something that's useful over time. So there's like beginning stuff, and I think all of it is really mostly beginner level stuff for the most part. So, but the idea is I do want it to build and be something where you can start with, basic things and continue to grow and progress through the videos instead of it just being a bunch of repeats. So it's good to hear that you're finding that as you go through the material I put out. Thank you for that feedback. Let's see. I purchased my Taiji book. Awesome. Congratulations on that. I hope you get a lot out of that book. And I'll be looking to get some Dit Da Jow. Okay. Thank you always for your content and guidance in Tai Chi. Well, you are so welcome. I'm so glad that what I'm putting out is helpful. And for the Dit Da Jow, again, just be sure you have a good instructor to help you with that hand conditioning if you haven't been trained in that already. It's great stuff, but it doesn't make up for good training. So thank you for the comment. Really appreciate it. I'm glad to hear that you're enjoying the process and the journey that you're going through. As you learn, I'm glad to hear that the stuff I've put out has been helpful for you. Keep up the good work, keep up the good training, and thanks for the comment and for the support. Let's see. We are going on to a comment from Laura Gwen. This one is on a Taiji 10 form video. Laura says, "These are so good. Thank you. I'm so glad to hear that, Laura. Thank you very much. I took your advice and signed up for an in-person class. Awesome. Congratulations on that. With an experienced teacher, even better, who is teaching the 10 form / 8 form, because it can be called both. Let's see. I've had 2 classes so far and really enjoy them. I'm glad to hear that. But I keep coming back to your excellent videos to closely study your hand and foot position movement. Thank you again." Laura, I'm so glad that the videos are helpful for you, but I'm even more glad for you that you're working with someone in person, that you're in a class with an experienced instructor and someone who can help you in person. That's wonderful news. I'm glad that the 2 classes that you've had have been enjoyable for you. Keep up those classes, keep up the good work, and I'm glad that the things I'm putting out are also helping in your Taiji journey. So keep it up. Thanks for the comment. Let's see. This next one is on one of the Taiji Sword Basics videos that I put out on its grip details part 1. And this comment is from Linda Voorhees. I don't know if I said that right. I apologize if I said it incorrectly, but that's my best guess on that one. Pretty cool looking last name. So Linda Voorhees says, "Great explanation of grips. There are so many more grips that I would love to see you explore. There are a lot of variations and a lot of grips that you can do with the Jian, or the straight sword, sometimes called the Taiji sword. Um, I think I don't know if you've seen part 2. I do discuss, if I remember correctly, I discuss more grips in part 2. But again, I don't think that I go into great detail or cover all the potential grips that are out there. I think I was just wanting to hit kind of the major ones. So maybe at some point in the future, I will come back around to Taijiquan and discuss a couple more grips. I'm sure there are a lot of grips out there that I have never been exposed to, so it's possible that some of the grips you're thinking of are ones that I just don't know. But yeah, I'm happy to give some more time to that exploration in the future. So thanks for the feedback, Linda. Thank you for the comment, and I'm glad to hear you enjoyed the video. I'm gonna grab, my mouth is kind of dry. I've been talking a lot today, so I'm gonna try to stay hydrated for this. All right. So the next comment is from a video in the Taiji 24 forum series. This one is from a user named Thekla Hideki, I think. Not sure if I said that right. I apologize if I got that wrong. But Thekla says, thank you for these. You are so welcome, Thekla. I hope that you're really enjoying those videos and they're making a big difference for you. Next comment here is from one of the previous quick Q&A live streams. This one is from Driving Daily. Driving Daily says, hi, so would the Dit Da Jow you mentioned from the first website still be functional while I try to find a better made medicine like the second one you mentioned? Thanks. Okay, so I think this was the last video that I did where I talked about Dit Da Jow. It might have been the one before that, but I think it was the last one I did. And I was talking about how I used to use the Da Jow. It's for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's something that you put on your hands or on your body after you've done conditioning, and not like conditioning like cardio conditioning like hitting something repeatedly to toughen up the structures of your body to be able to withstand impact and to be able to deliver more impact. So you basically use this. It's a herbal blend that's soaked in a wine to draw the constituents out of the herbs, and then you put that on your hands after training, and it helps everything kind of mend better. And it's been used in Chinese martial arts for a very long time. And so I discussed that I had previously been using the Dit Da Jow from WLE.com. That's Wing Lam Enterprises, I think is what the E stands for. They make a Dit Da Jow, and I used the one, I think it was their, I think they used to have one that was a triple strength. I don't know if they still do, but that's the one that I used. And I liked it. I don't see any reason why someone wouldn't use that. As far as I know, it's a really good Jow, and yeah, that's what I used for years. And I only switched to a different one because I know the Chinese medicine doctor who makes it, and he's also a martial arts master. And so the combination of those things, I think, is really an excellent combination. Someone who has, and his knowledge of Chinese medicine herbs is just like mind blowing. So that kind of knowledge about traditional Chinese herbs in combination with the martial arts knowledge and understanding how to make that medicine, or that liniment, I guess I should call it, for body conditioning, I think that's what you want. And I've been absolutely impressed with using it. So, um, but I think if you can't get your hands on that, or if you don't have someone in your local area that's well versed in Chinese medicine and martial arts who could make the Da Jiao for you, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't use the stuff from WLE. I'm not getting any commissions or anything from WLE for that. That's just my experience with using their product. I was very happy with it. So, um, yeah, use at your discretion. I think that it's I don't see any reason why someone wouldn't use it. So yeah, that's my response. So driving daily, I hope that's helpful for you as a response. Thanks for the comment. Thanks for the question, and wishing you all the best in your training. Also to you, same thing as before. Don't depend on the Jiao to make up for poor training. If you have not been trained in body conditioning methods, try to find someone who can train you before you attempt that. That's really important. So yeah, that's my 2 cents on that. Gonna move on to the next comment. This one is on one of the Qigong Basics videos, number 3. This one is from a user named Pet Peeve. Like that username. Let's see. Pet Peeve says, "What do I do when I feel like urinating? I know the obvious thing to say is to try to ignore it, but I don't want to basically urinate myself. So what I do is try to hold it back while trying not to tense up other muscles." So apparently this is happening during Qigong training, um, but they still tense anyway. Okay, and that makes me think about other things, and the meditation is pretty much ruined from there. So yeah, this is during meditation or Qigong. Uh, Anyone help me? Question mark. All right, pet peeve. I'm sorry to hear that you're having a rough time with this. Um, I'm assuming that this is a need to urinate very frequently if it's happening frequently enough that it's interrupting your meditation. Typically, the thing to do would be to take care of all voiding before you start doing any type of meditation or standing qigong, and try not to chug any big beverages beforehand, just to give yourself a chance to not have to urinate during it. But I'm assuming you've tried those things. And so there's a couple of thoughts here. One is, if you are needing to urinate so frequently that you can't do 5 minutes of meditation without being interrupted, um, it's not about, and I'm not giving you medical advice here. While I am a doctor, I'm not your doctor. So this is something you want to discuss with your doctor. Uh, that is something that well, I'll just say that if you're needing to urinate that much, do discuss it with a doctor. If you have discussed this with your family doctor, then also, and maybe you haven't gotten any useful information back, try discussing it with a Chinese medicine doctor. If you have been worked up by a doctor and they've not found anything concerning, but you are still experiencing that, maybe try talking to a good pelvic floor therapist to see if they can help. There's a lot of things that can cause that. And so I think that's the most important thing to deal with, is why you're needing to urinate so frequently that you're not able to do your meditation or your qigong. And it's, it is something that's worth looking into. So I would say that. Um, Also, like I said, try voiding before you do your meditation. If you have tried everything and there's basically, nothing that's making it better, and it's not something very concerning, you've already been worked up by your doctor, etc. Then I would say, if you need to urinate while you're doing meditation and the need to hold back is ruining the meditation, then it's not doing you any good to sit there and just try to hold it. So just take a break, go take care of it, and come back to your meditation. I know we get kind of hung up a lot of times when it comes to training, especially internal arts training, on needing to make everything very perfect in how we practice. And I think especially in the beginning, it's better to be doing things than to be, you know, not doing things because they're not happening as perfectly as we would like. So I think the saying is, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. So, if you're doing a 3-minute bout of meditation and then you have to run to the restroom and come back and do another 3 minutes, that's better than not doing any, or for sitting there for a straight 6 minutes and being miserable for the second three, because the second 3 minutes is not going to be doing you any good in that situation. Like, you're not focusing on the things you should be focusing on. You're not getting the benefits of meditation or qigong at that point. You're just trying not to void with, in a time and place that you're not wanting to. So I would say, work with your body first, work with your doctor, and then work with your body and listen to your body. And if you need to void, just stop your meditation and go take care of it. So I hope that's helpful for you. Again, do talk to your doctor if this is something that's interrupting even short bouts of meditation. Um, so I hope that's helpful. Thank you for the comment. Thank you for the question. I'm sure there are plenty of other people who have encountered this. I know that a lot of times when we're doing things like Qigong and meditation, we're encouraged to ignore distractions, certain distractions, whether that is the need to go to the bathroom or a fly landing on, your arm or something like that. And to an extent, that can be okay to, help focus the mind. But if it's something where it is potentially, from some underlying other cause that's causing you to need to urinate that often, or something where you need to take care of it, like needing to urinate, then there's no problem with stopping your meditation to go take care of it. Don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good. Do the best you can and give yourself grace as a human being to not always be perfect. So I hope that helps. Thank you for the comment and the question, pet peeve. Carry on with your training. I'm wishing you all the best. Let's see. Seems like we have several comments from, I'm guessing this is a new viewer. Name is Christine Specone. Not sure how you pronounce that one. Gave it my best there. I apologize if I got it wrong. Probably did. Most of these comments are on silk reeling videos. Let's see. First one is basically Christine enjoyed the presentation. Wants to contribute some money in the future. Thank you for that, Christine. I really appreciate any contributions, any support for this channel and what I do here. I do appreciate it. So I'm glad you enjoyed the presentation on that silk reeling video. Next one, dense and intense instruction. Brilliant. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. Enjoy listening to your presentation on body mechanics. So glad to hear you enjoyed the presentation. I know that the material can be a little bit dense. I did try to make it as straightforward as possible, but I'm not sure I always succeed in that. So I'm glad to hear that you are enjoying that in spite of potentially very imperfect delivery. Let's see, another one from a silk reeling video. Terrific explanation. If you have an idea of a good instructor in my area, please inform. In Massachusetts. So I am sure there are good instructors there, but I don't know of any in that area. And that has nothing to do with the fact that, I don't think that there's a lack of good instructors in that area necessarily. I'm just not familiar with that area. So I can't help you with that. I apologize. I'm sure if you do a Google search for some schools in your area, some martial arts schools, Tai Chi schools, Qigong schools, something like that, you will have probably plenty to choose from. And you can look at reviews. You can stop by. In a previous video, there was someone who asked how to pick a good school or a good instructor, the previous live Q&A session. And I kind of dove into somewhat detail of things you want to look for. So I'd encourage you to go back and look at that video. So yeah, I'm sorry I can't help you more with that one, but do make use of Google. I'm sure you'll be able to find some good instructors in your area. There are a lot out there. Okay, another comment on a silk reeling video. Lovely and helpful content. Glad to hear it. Thank you. Look forward to viewing more related subjects in martial arts, body dynamics, Dantian utilization, etc. You make a valiant attempt to include everything and anticipate any question a student might have on any level. Thanks. I do my best to try to both remember the questions that came up most frequently when I was teaching and to try to remember the things that were most confusing for me when I was learning. So I'm glad that some of those are helpful perspectives when you're viewing these videos. That's great to hear, Christine. Thank you. Excellent angle and presentation. Thanks for that. Let's see. And the last comment, bravo, you don't miss a beat in conveying all we need to perform movements correctly and safely. Great. So, yeah, I mean, it's my hope. Obviously, any physical activity that anyone does has risks involved. So it is my hope that, anyone who's following along with these videos is being very careful and listening to their body and not doing things unsafely. So I'm glad to hear that you're feeling safe in how you're doing the movements. This is, again, one of the reasons why I encourage people to work with someone in person. It is very easy to do things in a way that you think is correct while you're doing it, but then maybe is not completely correct. And it either lead to bad habits or more wear and tear on the body, something like that. And so it's always best to work with someone in person who can actually watch what you're doing and give you feedback in real time. But I do try very hard to make sure that all the information in my videos is presented in a way where people can do it in as safe a way as possible. So glad to hear that you're finding that, Christine. Thank you for the comments. Thank you for the feedback. Really glad that you're enjoying the videos that you're seeing. So that's why I put them out, is for people to learn, to have access to this information, and to train when they may not have the chance to train otherwise. So thank you for those comments. And it looks like those are the comments that I have for today. Check a few other places real quick to see if I missed anything. If there are any comments or questions, oh, I think there is one. Let's see, Kirk Mills. Let's see, I use cannabis root balm, and it works great for my sore hands as a mechanic. Interesting. I'll have to try Dit Da Jow. Yeah, I hope that works for you. Thanks for the comment. And Kirk Mills is a supporting member, so thank you, Kirk, for the support, and all the supporting members out there for your support as well. Let's see, I was looking for comments here. Looks like I got them. And I did see, let's see. I came across an older comment too the other day. So let me see if I can find that one again, because it was an interesting question. And so I think it might be useful for people watching now. So I'm going to scroll back and see if I can find it. Oh, well, here's a comment. This isn't the one I was thinking of, but this one is 7 years old, and I guess I never saw it. So here is your answer. The user's name is TJI Chateau, and they say, "Hi, sorry, I'm French. I may have missed some information, but what style do you teach?" Chen, excellent video. Anyways, thank you very much. This is on one of the bag drills videos. And so I teach Chen style and Yang style. So those are the two styles. So thank you for that question. Sorry, it took me 7 years to answer it. Sorry, I missed that one a ways back. Okay, here it is. So this one is from a year ago. So I missed this one also. This is on one of the Qigong basic videos. And this is from Mountain Peak Cloud. And they say, great details. What are your thoughts on stance training in low postures? Do you think the added strengthening of the legs and lower stance training is beneficial, or do you think it distracts from the purpose of Jian training and leg strength can be developed on other parts of training? Or are there ways to do low? See if my mouth will work. Are there ways to do low stance training without the knees going past the toes? Okay, so this, yeah, I wanted to talk about this. And again, Mountain Peak Clouds, I'm sorry that I missed this question for a year. Hopefully my answer, I don't know if it will be good enough to make up for a year, but I'll give it my best shot. So low stance training and Jian Zhuang, there are mixed thoughts on this. I honestly think that if you're going to do stance training, do stance training. If you're going to do Jian Zhuang training, do Jian Zhuang training. There are people who prefer to do much lower stances when they're doing their Jian Zhuang and use that as part of the frame training that they're doing, and that makes sense. But your focus is going to be distracted greatly in the beginning by the stance itself. But then again, as you work through that, it can be helpful to strengthen the legs and strengthen your focus and strengthen your frame in a way that you would not probably do in a higher stance. That said, I think that most of Taiji training and silk ruling training is really done, especially if you're doing Chen style, it's really done in low enough stances that your legs get the strengthening training that they need. And you don't necessarily have to do that cross training of low stances when you do Jian Zhuang and low stances when you do form training. So And also, low stances are great for strengthening the legs and strengthening the body. But if you are just doing Tai Chi for health, if you're just doing Tai Chi because you enjoy it, if you're not interested in the martial side of it, I think low stance training can be helpful. But at the same time, it's better to listen to your body and not push it, because it is possible to harm yourself, hurt yourself doing lower stances if you're not doing them correctly. Um, how we did it in China when I was training there is we would have specific training sessions during the week that were stance training sessions. At least the second time I was there, that's what we did. Um, we did the first time I was there, we did stance training that was part of a form that we would typically do that was part of, so we would do a form that had several different stances in it, and we would do that form. Obviously, it had several different stances in it. That's kind of a silly thing to say, but like, the basic stances of kung fu, or in that case, it was Bajiquan. And so we would go through that form, and we would stop at each posture of the form, and we would hold that for a certain amount of time. And that was like both a standing Qigong and a stance training at the same time. And that was very powerful. It was great training. I encourage people to do that with their Taiji forms as well. Use that as a standing post and a stance training at the same time. Um, so it's totally something that you can do. As far as the second time I was there, we would actually just have a time that was like, okay, this training period, is stance training, and we would all just stand there and sweat and be in pain trying to hold stances until our master said we could, move and get out of the stance. And so I do remember a lot of pain from those training sessions, but it does get better over time. And you can use that training time as well to develop your structure in your frame internally, instead of just focusing on the burning muscles that are screaming at you. So I think it's fine to do. It really depends on what your goals are. And I think it's more important in the beginning to work on that internal structure and frame and feeling without a lot of distraction. And so I think doing a higher stance in the beginning to start to feel that makes more sense while you're doing just Zhuang, just your standing post. And then if you want to play with lower stances, that totally makes sense. But I would separate those in the beginning and do stance training and do Zhuang. And then as you get the development of the Zhuang, you can start to transfer some of that into your stance training, and that will make your stance training a little bit easier. Not completely easy, but easier. Yeah, and then also, of course, with your form training, you're going to be getting a lot of leg training with that as well. So I would say the more important thing to do is make sure you're not overtraining, because you do need to protect your knees. As you get closer to fatigue with these types of training exercises, you tend to lose good form, you tend to lose good structure, good alignment, and you put your joints at much higher risk. So if you're going to do these things, I would say start slow and work up slowly, or work down in your stance, I guess, slowly, and give your legs plenty of time to recuperate in between training sessions so that you don't overdo it and hurt yourself. Um, let's see. And then, are there ways to do low stance training where the knees, without the knees going past the toe? Yes, you should be doing your low stance training without the knees going past the toe. And that's really going to be done by working on body mechanics and lining up your structure, so your force is going like directly in front of the heel, like I talk about in lots of videos now. Um, that's going to be your best way of doing that. So if that's not something that makes sense, I would say find an instructor to work with who can teach you how to do that, rather than continuing to do stances with pushing your knees way out past your toes. I mean, you can do what you want, of course. I'm not giving you medical advice here, but I would not do that to my knees. So that's my response. Mountain Peak Clouds. Again, sorry it took a year. Thanks for the questions. Those were great questions. They deserved an answer much sooner than this. So there you go. And I thought I saw another one that was worth answering. So I'm going to try to find that really quickly. Let me see if there's any. Oh, here's one from 8 years ago. This is kind of embarrassing that I missed so many questions from so far back. This one is on one of the Chen 27 form videos. This is from a user named S. Cone, who's also a subscriber. Thank you for being a subscriber, S. Cone. I apologize that it took me 8 years to find your question and to answer it. Let's see. The question is, do you know of a way to do mirror image on YouTube, or a program that I can add to your videos so I can do mirror image? I can rub my stomach and pat my head better than some of my moves in Tai Chi. Um, got the first move down pat. Thank you. Enjoy instructions very much. So this is something that I have been hearing more often, is people wanting mirror images of what's going on. I don't know if there's a way to do that on YouTube. I mean, there might be some sort of extension you can put in your browser that would do that for you. I don't actually know. I am definitely not the most tech savvy person. I try, but yeah, I'm not the person you'd want to go to for those kinds of questions. Um, I did in my most recent Taiji 10 form instruction video, not the one I most recently posted, I think was a connecting moves video, which is just connecting the moves. And then the one before that was an actual instruction video. And in that one, I put a section that was front view, like mirror image. So I'm going to try to incorporate that in videos, just labeled as mirror image in the video. So hopefully it's not confusing and it's helpful for people who need that mirror image. Um, so I don't know if that really helps you because I don't have that in the 27 form videos. Um, but yeah, that's something that can be done. I think YouTube allows video downloads if you are I forget what they call it. YouTube, like, I want to call it Prime, but I think that's Amazon that I'm thinking of there. It's basically the YouTube subscription where you get to not have ads show, and one of the perks I think is being able to download videos. If you do that, you might be able to download the video and flip it in your video player, but I don't know which video players would do that, which ones wouldn't. So I would do some research on that to see if that's a useful thing for you. But yeah, for those of you watching, if you are learning the Taiji 10 form, if you haven't already, check out the video, the most recent instruction video that I put up, and look for that mirror image section and see if that's helpful or if that's confusing, and give me some feedback to let me know. Either keep doing that, change how I'm doing it, or something along those lines. So I know, if it's actually helping you guys or just confusing you all. So Escone, thanks for the questions. Thanks for the comment. Sorry it took 8 years to get back to you. I hope that wasn't a very useful response, but um, I'm glad I finally got back to you. And let's see, there's one more question. This one is from Martin Freestyle. This one was left 5 years ago on a standing or a Jian Qigong standing post Qigong video. And Martin Freestyle says, my hands start to vibrate after an exercise. How is this possible? So if you're doing standing post Qigong and you start to vibrate, that can mean a couple of different things if your hands are shaking. One thing, especially in the beginning, is if you're doing it for an extended period of time, your body may just not be like used to that kind of exercise. And so what you're experiencing is just muscle fatigue. And that's something that does resolve with time, with practice, with better structure, better form, better internal frame. So, I mean, that's possibly what you're experiencing when you say your hands vibrate. Also, when you're doing Qigong, sometimes you will experience different sensations: warmth, cold, numbness, tingling, a sense of like a buzzing feeling almost. Those kinds of things are pretty normal. They come and they go. They're not something to spend a lot of time focusing on. But if you feel like what you're experiencing is like a shaking that is not muscle fatigue, it's not just like a sensation. It's like, I don't know if I have a good description for it, but it feels like you don't have control over what your body is doing and you're just shaking. That's a good indication that you probably want to talk to a Chinese medicine practitioner and get some in-person instruction with your Jian Zhuang. There's probably something that needs to be looked at in your training or balanced out in your body if that's what you're experiencing. So, again, always best to work with someone in person, but there are times when things need to be fine-tuned, things need to be adjusted, or uh, you need to work with someone in person to make sure everything's okay. So, I apologize that it took me 5 years to get back to you on that. Based on the question, I'm not sure what the best thing to do is. And so, as usual, I think the best thing to do is find someone you can work with in person who can see if what you're experiencing is, yeah, that's something we experience as we go through, standing post, or if it's like, okay, we need to look deeper in this and change some things about your training. So um, I hope that helps now, even after 5 years. Uh, but thank you for the question. I apologize for the late reply. And that's that. I think those are all the questions. I'll keep looking back through questions if I can to see if there's anything else that I've missed in the past, and I'll try to throw those into future um, live stream videos. Okay, well, I think that's that. I also wanted to talk just for a second about when you're getting into push hands, when you are doing standing post Qigong, and you're wanting to get into push hands to kind of see, are you internalizing the frame? Are you internalizing what you're supposed to be? Are you kind of ruling out or eliminating the errors in your Taiji training? Push hands is your test for that. And that is where you will find a lot of errors that would slip by otherwise. And when it comes to standing post, your standing post Qigong, that helps you develop that frame that you need. The silk ruling, like I've said before, it helps you turn that frame into, motion basically, and then you take that further with your form training. But all of those things can have errors in them that you will never find if you do not touch hands with someone, if you don't do push hands. And so, really, your best training implement is the people that you train with. They are going to help you more than most things, as long as you're spending your time doing your solo training well. And I brought up this book last time, this Taiji, the Perfect Exercise by Arthur Rosenfeld, and I chatted about it. Actually, I don't remember if it was last time or the time before, but I wanted to talk a little bit about one of the exercises discussed in it and how you can use that really well for your development of Tai Chi. So, and I should have bookmarked this before, so I know what page to tell you about. But I did not, because this is a little bit of a last minute thing. Let's see. There it is. So page 183. I'll jump over there real quick. And in this book, there are different exercises that you can do. And they're called explorations. This is exploration number 3 for this part of the book. And it's called the Rabbit and Hunter Game. You can see that there. And it's basically, he does a great job of explaining it in the book. And this is basically what I learned basically as firming the center, or establishing that central equilibrium. And basically it's like you're starting push hands posture, one hand on one person's chest, their hands on your chest, the other hand's on the elbow, their other hands on your elbow. And all you're doing is basically looking for, and the way that he describes it in that exercise is you take turns and you're looking for the person's center. You are looking for their weaknesses in their structure and their frame, and you're basically trying to find your way in to take them off balance and to uproot them. And then they're taking a turn doing that with you. And then eventually, after you do this, back and forth for a while, you move on to doing it where you're both trying at the same time. Pardon me, I'm going to grab something to drink real fast. All right. So that's something that is a very basic exercise that you can do if you have a training partner that you're working with. It's described really well in that book. Again, I think that book is a great resource for especially beginners in Tai Chi. There is a link down in the video description that you can use to get that book if you're interested. It is an affiliate link, so it does give me a kickback. So you don't have to use that link to get it, but I would recommend getting that book somewhere if you can. And check out that exercise and try it out if you have someone that you can do it with safely. Yeah, it's a really superb exercise because it's very similar. You're not doing a lot of moving. you're standing. And so when you do that standing, it's kind of similar, analogous to your standing post Qigong. You find your center, you find your frame. But now all of a sudden, instead of just holding your stance, holding your frame, you have an external force that's trying to actively upset that frame. And the first thing that you find you'll do is this. Like everything comes up, you're trying to fight back immediately. And that's the reflex that you're trying to get rid of so that you can depend on your frame to take the force that's coming in from your training partner. And so I would say if you've been doing standing post for a while and you're wanting to check in on it, and you're wanting to kind of take it to the next level, see if you can find someone to do that exercise, whether you call it rabbit hunter or firming the center or whatever you want to call it. Um, that's an excellent exercise. And yeah, it can help you basically go from just standing with potential errors to standing with external stressors that are making you find those errors. And then you take that feedback that you got, all that information, all the interoception that's going on while you're feeling that force against you and how you regulate that force. Then when you go back to your standing post Qigong, you integrate that information. How was your frame different? How did you relax? How did you move to basically funnel that force into the ground, make it root its way around your center instead of going directly to it and being able to uproot you, and tie that all together so that you have um, a much more informed standing post practice. And then you take that information from standing post and you apply it when you do your silk reeling. And then you take that information, you apply it when you're doing your form practice. And then you go back and you practice with a partner doing that exercise and see what's changed and what new errors they can find and how you can fine tune your training after that. So, um, yeah, a very basic exercise, but a great place to start when you're doing push hands or when you're just wanting to fine tune your solo training, if you can find a partner to do that with. Okay, so I think I've beat that topic to death. I'm going to call it quits. I have been on here much longer than I intended to be. Lots of good questions, lots of very fun comments to read through. So thank you all for your comments. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your interest and your enthusiasm in Tai Chi and Qigong. Thank you for the support, for the my mouth quit now. For those of you who are supporting members or subscribers, thank you so much for being subscribers and supporting members. I appreciate you all. I appreciate your support. Wishing you all the best, and I will see you next time.